Hey guys, welcome back to Calgary Barbell. Today we're going to tackle the age-old question of is sumo cheating? Now, the way that we plan to approach this is we're going to take and measure the range of motion between my conventional deadlift and my sumo deadlift. Now, I think or feel that I'm somebody who is rather adept at both, having set world records with both styles of lift. I feel like that gives me a little bit of a qualification to be an example for this. Now, we don't know at this point what's gonna happen or how the information's gonna come out, but we wanted to do this comparison just for the sake of a good conversation topic. I think it's worth talking about and worth sort of having a discussion about. So we'll get to it. All right, so we're gonna go through a couple of reps, one sumo, one conventional. I'm gonna try to do them as true to how I normally perform them as I can. And we're gonna measure the distance from the floor to the bottom of the plates on each style of deadlift. Accuracy is important. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna pull a rep conventional. We're gonna see what the difference is. 41.5 sumo versus.
Oh, it's definitely 50.5.
So 41.5 to 50.5. So 9 centimeters. All right, so we noticed that there's about an 8.5 centimeter difference between my sumo and my conventional. We have Dyllon here. He's also pulled both styles pretty regularly, so we're gonna test his as well. He's super long and gangly and weird, so we'll see how that impacts the difference in his range of motion.
So I'm not like cheating either.
Cheat all you want, man. So Dyllon's range of motion is about 50.5 centimeters. 50.5 in sumo. And about 62 centimeters conventional. 50.5 and 62. All right, so that was not surprising, but a little bit surprising, man. I think we both knew that the range of motion was gonna be different, like we both kind of predicted in that first segment, but we didn't exactly predict by how much. So my conventional range of motion was 50.5 centimeters. My sumo range of motion was 41.5 centimeters, so a difference of 9 centimeters. I think that's 2 inches or so. It accounted for 18% difference off my conventional deadlift. Dyllon's was 50.5 centimeters for his sumo and 62.5 for his conventional, 11.5 centimeters and 19% difference in his range of motion. Now, one more thing we're gonna look at here is we wanna compare how those changes apply when we're talking about a deadlift bar. Because on a deadlift bar, we're looking at a wider stance, especially for somebody who's very tall like Dyllon. He goes right out toes to the plates. And for myself, I don't even max width on a stiff bar, but I will go wider than I'm able to go on a stiff bar and see how much that affects my range of motion. Let's go take a look. All right, so now we're gonna take a look at the difference in range of motion on a deadlift bar, which is gonna allow the lifter to get an even wider stance and probably trim that range of motion by quite a bit more. So, to start with, my conventional deadlift. 49.5, so about 1 centimeter difference between my conventional on the stiff bar versus the deadlift bar. So now,
And I mean, that's probably like shoulder positioning stuff slightly different.
it could be shoulder positioning, could be a little bit of whip in the bar. It could just be, yeah, like I lifted a little bit differently that time. But I think this is gonna make a really big difference. So I'm gonna go out wider, a fair bit wider than I usually go on the stiff bar with my sumo. Even on a stiff bar, I don't max out the width, I'm not toes to the plates, but we'll do a comparatively wide sumo deadlift on this bar. Oh, 34 centimeters. So that's That's a much bigger trim on the range of motion. We'll do the same thing with Dillon now. Holy, I fit a skyscraper under here. 61.5 centimeters. So only about a half centimeter difference for you in the conventionals. 45 centimeters. So that was enlightening. Definitely makes a very big difference on the deadlift bar. We saw a 31% difference in range of motion on the deadlift bar between my conventional and my Sumo. My conventional being 49.5, so a little bit shorter on the deadlift bar, even for conventional, and way shorter. So it was another 6 or 7 centimeters down to 34 centimeters. 15.5 centimeter difference between the two on the deadlift bar, 31% difference. With Dillon, he pulled his conventional deadlift about 61.5 centimeters from the floor, 45 centimeters for his Sumo deadlift, so 16.5 centimeters, 27% difference for his deadlift there. Now, for myself, like I said, not even going toes to plates, I could probably train myself to go wider and trim even more of that range of motion off. So now that we know there is a very big difference in the range of motion between Sumo and conventional, does that mean Sumo's cheating? First off, Sumo deadlifting is within the rules of competition. The word cheating would imply explicitly breaking the rules of competition. So in that very literal sense, no, Sumo is not cheating. Yes, Sumo deadlifting is based on leverages, and yes, it probably benefits really short guys more than tall guys. But are you gonna stop watching basketball because everybody's really tall and that's cheating? Should O-linemen have to be skinnier? Is that more noble? Also, is range of motion everything? No. You need flexibility, you need positional strength, you need to be able to do the movement. I think a lot of people who think Sumo is cheating maybe just aren't very good at it. If Sumo's cheating, range of motion is everything, then spread your legs and fly away. And finally, if you're stuck to the antiquated notion that doing things the hard way or making things harder on yourself is somehow more noble or makes you stronger, then enjoy watching your records fall to athletes who spend years honing their technique to take advantages of their leverages within the rules of the sport and are technically better lifters. Well, now that we've pissed you all off by defending Sumo deadlifting and using almost entirely metric measurements through the whole video, we'd like to thank you for coming along through this weird little experiment of ours, and we look forward to having a discussion with everybody in the comments section. Hopefully we can all be adults out there. Leave a like if you liked it, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next video.